For weeks, the internet has been whispering. Clips, comments, theories, all circling the same question. What's really going on between Scott Disick and Khloé Kardashian? From playful interviews to cryptic Instagram posts, fans have watched a familiar pattern unfold. Scott's flirty humor with Khloé, the inside jokes, the late-night hangouts. And while some saw it as harmless sibling energy, others began reading something more between the lines. And through it all, Kourtney Kardashian said nothing. Until now, silence has always been Kourtney's sharpest weapon. Where others rush to respond, she watches. Where the family thrives on cameras, she finds strength and stillness. But as the rumors about Scott and Khloé reached fever pitch, speculation growing, headlines twisting, fans taking sides, her silence started to feel like a message in itself. But I haven't talked to like Kourt or the kids or anything like that yet. Yeah, would Mason be okay with it? Well, I don't know. People were waiting for a reaction. A post. A headline quote they could screenshot and debate. What they didn't understand is that when Kourtney speaks, it's never impulsive. By the time she opens her mouth, she has already made peace with the words she's about to release. As one insider close to her explained, silence isn't always peace. Sometimes it's preparation. And this week, during a low-key, intimate moment filmed for the family's reality series, Kourtney finally addressed what everyone had been whispering about. She didn't come in hot. There was no jealousy, no resentment, no sharp edges. Instead, there was calm, almost disarming in its honesty. She leaned back, gave a small smile, and said, "I think people forget that we've all grown up together. Scott and Khloé have their dynamic, their humor, their friendship. It's never bothered me. It's just interesting what people choose to focus on." It wasn't defensive. It wasn't distant. It was a boundary wrapped in grace. Because beneath that composed delivery was a woman who has lived through public heartbreak enough times to understand that reacting only feeds chaos. Silence, for her, has become power. The clip spread fast. Fans replayed it frame by frame, analyzing every pause, every expression, every inflection. Some called it elegant. Others called it cold. But nearly everyone agreed on one thing. This was classic Kourtney. No dramatics, no cryptic posts. Just a quiet reminder that she's no longer operating on the same emotional frequency as everyone else. She doesn't need to shout, one fan wrote. Her calm says everything. And maybe that's why her words landed harder than any rant ever could. Because when Kourtney Kardashian finally breaks her silence, it isn't noise, it's closure. To understand why Kourtney's silence became such a headline, you have to rewind to where this complicated triangle of loyalty, history, and blurred boundaries first began. Long before Travis Barker. Before marriages, bobbies, and emotional distance. Back when Scott wasn't just her partner, he was embedded in the Kardashian ecosystem. In that world, Khloé wasn't simply a sister-in-law figure. She was Scott's closest ally. When Keeping Up with the Kardashians first aired, their chemistry was impossible to miss. They were the comedic duo of the show, constantly roasting each other, creating chaos, and turning even mundane moments into viral scenes. "You're literally the brother I never wanted," Khloé would joke. "And you're the sister I can't escape," Scott would fire back. It was entertaining, unpredictable, and often hilarious. But beneath the humor was something deeper. Khloé saw Scott at his lowest, during addiction, loss, and emotional collapse. And Scott leaned on her like family when others pulled away. Over time, Khloé became his strongest defender inside the Kardashian circle. When he spiraled, she checked him. When others distanced themselves, she stayed. Their bond blurred lines, not romantically, but emotionally. It was loyalty that ran unusually deep. Fans noticed it too. Private dinners, shared vacations, inside jokes on social media. And in a family where everything becomes content, closeness always invites speculation. As the years passed and Kourtney moved forward with Travis Barker, attention shifted back to Scott and Khloé. Every joint appearance sparked the same question online. Is this friendship crossing a line? Insiders insisted it was innocent. The family downplayed it as playful, but the internet refused to let it go. Because what once felt lighthearted now carried history, and history in the Kardashian world never truly disappears. Throughout all of it, Kourtney stayed quiet. Not because she didn't notice, but because she didn't feel the need to perform a reaction. As astrologers love to point out, that Scorpio energy doesn't waste emotion on an audience. Her silence wasn't indifference. It was awareness. She's seen this dynamic before. She understands how quickly chaos grows when you explain yourself publicly. And she's learned that peace doesn't come from clarification, it comes from detachment. What made the situation complicated wasn't romance. It was loyalty. It was how tightly this family is woven together, how roles overlap, how perception often outweighs truth. And that's what made her silence so loud. While tabloids chased headlines and fans dissected emojis and screenshots, Kourtney remained still. No shade, no commentary, just quiet. And for someone who spent decades under constant scrutiny, that silence wasn't avoidance, it was control. Kourtney has always moved differently from her sisters. She doesn't perform vulnerability. She doesn't rush to explain herself. She speaks when it matters, and when she does, it's deliberate. She once said, "Not everything deserves a response. Sometimes peace is choosing silence." This time, that silence wasn't distance. It was maturity. After everything she's endured with Scott, the public heartbreak, the emotional instability, she simply isn't the same woman anymore. She no longer chases closure. She creates it. Behind the scenes, insiders say Kourtney was fully aware of the growing chatter. She saw the clips. She read the comments. But instead of reacting emotionally, she waited, watching, processing, choosing her moment. That's her quiet strength. She doesn't speak to defend herself. She speaks to end the conversation. When Kourtney finally says something, one insider shared, it's because she's already worked through it privately. She doesn't talk from anger anymore. She talks from clarity. To outsiders, her silence looked like indifference. To those close to her, it meant peace. She wasn't avoiding drama, she was refusing to fuel it. And she understands better than anyone that rumors die faster when they aren't fed. When she finally spoke, it wasn't spontaneous. It was intentional calm. The kind that says, "I've seen this before and I'm not repeating the cycle." Her words were minimal. But they carried weight. Because when Kourtney speaks after silence, it's not for drama, it's for closure. Naturally, the internet did what it always does. It split. Some praised her restraint. Others accused her of being cold. Clips flooded TikTok comparing old episodes to her recent comments. Edits appeared with captions like, "She's done explaining herself," and "You can hear the pain in her calm." Even casual viewers weighed in, calling it one of the most composed power moves the family has ever seen. She didn't deny rumors. She didn't name names. She simply made it clear she's no longer playing that game. Privately, reactions within the family were mixed. Khloé reportedly found the comment expected but unnecessary. Scott was said to be quiet, possibly embarrassed. Still, no one could deny how skillfully it was delivered. Kourtney didn't spark new drama. She shut it down before it could ignite. That's her difference. Everyone else reacts. She decides. At its core, the public response said more about us than about her. We crave chaos. We expect explosions. And when someone chooses peace, we question it. But that's the irony. Her silence made her louder. When Kourtney addressed the situation, her words didn't sound like gossip. They sounded like release. She wasn't speaking as Scott's ex or Khloé's sister. She was speaking as a woman who has stepped out of a triangle that once defined her. "I've made peace with the past," she later added. "I'm focused on my life now, my marriage, my kids, my energy." That wasn't shade. It was liberation. Fans continued dissecting every word. Was acceptance strategic? Was it a subtle boundary? Body language experts weighed in, calling it emotional detachment, the most powerful form of closure. And that's what made it unforgettable. She wasn't trying to convince anyone. She was reminding herself she'd already let go. Her statement wasn't a defense. It was a declaration. Her story with Scott ended where it needed to. Loyalty to family doesn't mean reopening old wounds. And true to Kourtney's nature, she didn't escalate drama, she dropped perspective. Behind the scenes, the dynamic shifted. Scott became quieter. Khloé more careful. Even production reportedly eased off the storyline, because everyone understood something had changed. Kourtney's silence wasn't just peace, it was power. She didn't yell, she didn't explain. She let her calm speak for her. Because real strength doesn't come from reaction, it comes from restraint. Sometimes peace is the plot twist. So what do you think? Was Kourtney's calm composure true growth? Or does her silence still hold something unsaid? Drop your thoughts below. Like, subscribe, and share, because your voice keeps the conversation going.